It's a final video describing the notes that were given in class on Friday the 22nd of March, final period. Now just to find angles, so we've already covered unit conversion in another video, and we also covered finding missing sides also in the second video. You can go back to that if you need to. And now our third video is finding angles. Alright, so the notes here describing how to find angles. So suppose we are given, let's just make this a bit larger here so we can just see. Suppose we're given a triangle here. Assume that the red bits are not there, by the way. Just got 150, 100, and then we've got an X in the middle. Now the difference here is that so far, you know, if you look at that other stuff further over there, we've had a given angle, right? Angle was given, but over here we're trying to find our angle. It's an angle that we're trying to find. Alright, so we're going to use inverse sine or inverse cos or inverse tan when we're trying to find our angle. When there's a letter in the middle of a triangle, meaning we're trying to find an angle, we use inverse sine, inverse cos, or inverse tan. Right, so the first step is to label the sides. So we first need to have a look at our hypotenuse. It's the longest side. We'll always do it first, longest side. So our longest side has 150 meters there, so it's got something on it, 150 meters. So you label that as H because it's your longest side. Next one, opposite the X, opposite the angle, even though we don't know that angle, still opposite that angle because it has a letter at that angle that we're trying to find. Opposite that angle we have our side, which is 100. Now we label that as O because it's opposite. The adjacent, which is the other one over here, now that one you leave blank because it's blank. If it's blank, once again it stays blank. Now what you need to do next is to decide whether to use sine, cos or tan. O and H, scroll down here, and O and H, before the O and the H in SOHCAHTOA we have an S, and that S stands for sine. So let's go back up here. O and H is the right next to the S for SO. Alright, in SOHCAHTOA we have SO, S-O-H. Alright, so in that we decided we're going to use sine, but you actually have to put on the calculator. Don't worry about this X equals, that's what. But in your calculator you type out inverse or shift, sometimes it's shift on the calculator, sine, and you should get a little -1 above the sign there. And then in brackets you should have 100 for your O. This is the next part of SO, so S-O-H, SO. Right, remember? S, it's not scrolling, but we go back to there, okay. SO, S-O-H. Alright, so we've got S-O-H. Sine, -1, or inverse sine, shift sine, and brackets, opposite. What is the opposite? It's 100 divided by, and we always use divide in this case. Always use divide. When you're trying to find an angle, you always use this divide. Okay. Divide does not go over here either. So it's in a different place. It's in the inside of the brackets here. So you put the divide in a totally different place here. Alright? Because over here, remember, divide goes, you know, it's the second thing in a row, it goes before the sign here. Alright? But over here, if we're trying to find a missing angle, the divide goes within the brackets there. It's actually 100 divided by, what is our h? Our h is 150, and then close bracket, press equals, and you'll get your answer. Now, next one is our other one here, right? Our one that turns out to be costs. Now, let's assume you don't know that it's costs, okay? Because you're not given that. You're never told whether it's sine, cos, or tan, and you're never told whether or which side is h and which side is a either. I mean, this long side here, this is a long side, so we put an h there because it's our longest side. That's how we know that that's h. And over here, well, first of all, this would be our opposite the x, the angle, even though we don't know what it is, it's still our angle there. Opposite would be here, but we leave it blank because it is blank. You know, when it's blank, there's no letter there, you leave it blank. No number, no letter, leave it blank, right? That is our O. And next to our angle here, x, which we're trying to find, is our side here of 70, alright, and that is called A. Now, I know h, this one here, once again, next to as well as next to the angle, but that's our longest side, and that one's going to be labelled h because it's our longest side. The other one that is next to the angle that's here, this angle here, is labelled as A for adjacent. Now, not scrolling very well here. We've got cos -1, which you, on your calculator, you've got inverse cos. Alright, you press shift cos, or inverse cos. Now, how did we know to use cos, by the way? We'll just assume we don't even know to do it because I've skipped over a step here. We had A and H, alright? A and H, we labelled A and H. We didn't label the O because it was blank. A and H. And when we've got A and H, we've got the C in front of that. So C stands for cos, and that's why we use cos. Okay. And then we've got C, A divided by H. Ka. C, A, H. Right? The A is 70. Right? We label the A, you know, next to the 70 there. So 70, and then H is 105, so inverse cos 70 divided by 105. Right, and then you press equals and get your answer. Final one here. Now we'll see that it's tan, but let's assume we don't even know that it's tan. We don't know yet, and we don't even have our labels in there yet. Let's just assume that. Alright, so once again, there's an angle in the middle, alright, that's our x, and this side here is our longest side. Now that's going to be our h, but we don't label it because it's blank. There's no letter, there's no number on that side. There's a letter in the middle, but I mean on the outside there's no x or any other letter, A, B or C or anything. There's not even any number or anything at all on the outside where H should be, because that's the long side, it should be H. But we're not going to label it. It's going to leave it blank. It is H, but we're not going to label it. Now next one to label is the O. O for opposite. Alright, so opposite our angle, which in this case you're trying to figure out, but it's still an angle there. Now opposite that we've got our O. Alright, so we put an O there, and might not be able to see that, just bring it over across a little bit here. Okay, so that O here next to our got a side here which is opposite the x is given, and we're going to put an O right there. Alright, it's opposite. And the final one is going to be an A. It's the other side that's next to the angle, where it's our angle there, x degrees. We don't know what it is yet, but still it's an angle. That's the angle we're trying to find, and it's, you know, the other angle's no good. It's not even there at all. There's no letter or number in that one, so it's not relevant. Just like this side here is not relevant. Well, that angle there is also not relevant. So this is our angle actually, our x here, and next to that angle we have 40 meters, so that's our A. Alright, it's not the longest side, and it's next to, that side there is the long side, would be H. This one here is next to the angle, and so it's A. So we have O and A, and what we do next is we find out, well, we've got TOA for TOA. Alright, so when we've got O and A, we've labelled O and A. No H, we didn't label any H, just O and A. Right here we've got the T, which is in front of that, so we know we're going to use tan. Right, so go back to this here, and we know we're going to use tan here because we've got O and A, TOA. Right, and we're going to use inverse tan. Why? Because we're trying to find the angle. Whenever you're trying to find angles, use inverse tan. Use press shift tan or inverse tan on your calculator, and then in brackets you've got O divided by A. Right, so O, which is 50, divided by A, which is, well, I just hate it when I make mistakes here, but that actual 60 there should be 40. Okay, to fix that up, don't want to remake the video because I've already remade it already, so I don't want to redo this, but anyway, that there is supposed to be 40, so 50 opposite divided by 40. Alright, so we've got TOA, tan 50 divided by 40. Alright, hope this was useful. Let me know in the comments and subscribe. That would be great. Thanks for that. Bye.